Hey gang, AV here. Welcome to my bookcase part 2. Before we get to the new one, I just wanted to do a quick update on the first one. As you can see, I got Starscream in a little flying pose there. I got that rig on eBay. It turned out to be a little too flimsy for what I originally intended it for. And the only thing, it was actually secure enough to support any weight. The only configuration I could put it in was like that. And that's pretty much only good for a plane. So, Starscream got it. And after watching the first video once or twice, I realized I really do like Hot Rod in his vehicle mode. So I transformed him back. I think they did an excellent job with his vehicle mode for that particular mold. It's even better than the robot mode. If it wasn't such a pain in the ass to transform him back and forth, I could highly recommend him to just about anybody that watched the original cartoon movie, because he is just spot on. And let's see, what else? The speeder bike, even though I said and still stand by the fact that it's a piece of crap, I have it on a little flying base now, so it looks a little bit better. It's a good thing too, because those feet on the damn thing can't even support it. They collapse and it falls on its side, so it was just beneficial for me to do that. Not to mention it looks better anyhow. And you guys didn't really get a good shot of this shelf in the video. This is the one where I have all my extra trades, like my Walking Dead and my Powers, stuff like that, Criminal, as well as my Marvel Essentials. And right there, covered in a healthy layer of dust, is my die-cast GT500 Shelby Mustang with Anakin Skywalker driving it. And over here I got the Stingray with Han Solo and Anakin Skywalker. Maybe a little bit after I got these cars, Anakin was all over the shelves, and I found out that he actually fit in these things pretty damn well, so that's why I've got him in there. Not a very big fan of the prequels. I think they could have been done better, but what are you gonna do? And of course, those are my mugs: Captain America, Doctor Doom, Black Costume Spider-Man, and Thor. I've got one other mug that you're about to see in a minute in the other bookcase. And way down on the bottom shelf, collection of magazines. It's pretty dark down there. I apologize for it. I'm not sure if the flashlight's doing any good or not, but not much to see down there anyway. So that's the rest of my first bookcase. Let's head on over to the second one. Here we are at bookcase number 2. Again, I apologize for the lighting. Not sure how much good my flashlight's doing, but I'll see what I can do in the video editor. Very top of the bookcase, I have displayed some of my 6-inch figures. Not all of them, but most of my good ones. Let's see, of course you got Sideshow, Jedi Luke Skywalker. And before you guys say anything, I know it's not entirely screen accurate. I know he didn't wear the cloak when he was wielding the lightsaber or have the gloved hand, but hear me out for a second. 2 reasons why I did that. One, his face is pretty awful. He's got like a permanent look of surprise or fear. He genuinely looks like he was surprised and terrified at something, and it just does not look right. So I had to hide his face somehow. I mean, I don't know if you can see that, it just does not look right. Even though it looks like Mark Hamill, it's just not a good expression for that figure. I had to hide it. I'm not a fan. So, of course, the hood on the cloak is a damn good way to do that. Besides, the cloak is probably one of the best things about that figure. Honestly, I mean, it's a nice material. It looks decent when it's on. They even put the wire along the rim of his hood so that you could pose it in a more natural way when like drape it down while he's wearing it. I think they did an excellent job. I like displaying him with the cloak anyway, and I wanted him to hold a lightsaber, so don't give me a hard time. Thanks. Here we go. Hasbro Yoda. As I said in the previous video, I'm looking to get a Sideshow one, so I might replace him eventually, but for now, that's what I got, and it's not too bad. For being almost 15 years old and mass-produced like it was, it's really not a bad figure. In the back, you have Gandalf the Grey. And that's the exclusive one. He came with the book. I didn't want to pose him with the book, but if anybody could do me a favor, I bought mine secondhand. If anybody has that figure, can you let me know if he does come with the pipe? I know it was listed among his accessories, but mine doesn't have a pipe, and I don't see a place for it in the tray for my figure. So if you have the pipe, let me know, so that I know whether or not I'm missing it or whether or not they just decided not to give us one. Thanks. There you have my Sideshow Spider-Man. He's of course the figure I was buying that rig for I showed you a minute ago. I settled on the Green Goblin base. I got that off of eBay. Does a pretty damn good job. I wanted him in a swinging pose, so there you go. DC's Sandman. I forget what line exactly, but the Sandman itself is of course from the Vertigo line, but I forget where the figure came from. Like the Absolute Edition or what have you. But he's got some neat accessories like crow and the skull and everything. And of course Captain America. You guys know I'm a huge Captain America fan, so of course I had to have that guy. And just because you're probably getting it in the frame there, I'm gonna have to climb down. Well, back up. That's my Factory X proper upglove cap shield. While I'm up here, I may as well show you the damage, and I'll explain in a minute. See that chip there? Yeah. I'll climb down so you can get a better look at the shield itself. Basically, I was going to do a review of this, but a couple people have already put it up on YouTube, and they've pretty much said everything I was going to say. It's not the best piece you can possibly get. It has its flaws, and for its price, those flaws basically should not exist. In a nutshell, it's pretty much just a disc of sheet metal that they painted with an enamel paint. If you have an art background, you know how enamel paint reacts. I mean, once it dries or is heated, it hardens into a rigid shell around whatever the hell you paint it with. And to paint something that has to remain, and to paint something that has a tough time keeping its original shape with a paint that has no choice but to keep its original shape, results in some damage if you ever bump it. Like I showed you just a second ago. Basically, I just bumped it against something when I was walking by with it, and it was a tiny little ding, literally no bigger than the head of a pen, the tip of a pen, and that's how much paint flaked off from it. You have to be very careful with this thing. As big as it is still probably, no, not probably, it definitely is the most fragile thing in my collection, which is kind of ironic because it's cap shield, which is supposed to be indestructible. So I can't recommend you guys get that. You know, not unless you're willing to hang it on the wall and never touch it like I do. It's got a decent plaque though. Decent plaque. Next shelf down. You're gonna have to apologize for the shaky camera, guys. I'm on a comfy chair. Not the most stable platform to be filming on, but a collection of books with a handful of figures. Those colorful things right there are British annuals. They're not like the annuals we have here in the States. Pretty much, they're closer to anthologies. They're hardcover anthologies almost. Basically, when a title, at the end of the year, a title pulls a bunch of the popular stories that they had, stick them in a hardcover, and publish it as an annual. I'm not even sure if they still do it, but you get them over in Britain. And as you can see on the dates, some of them are pretty old, 70s. I got one from 68. Yes, I'm not even sure if they still do it, but they're really neat. I like them. Collection of Cap figures there. I have the first and second waves, but those are the only three I'm displaying right now. Of course, you got Bucky Cap, you know, Steve Rogers Cap, and Red Skull. Let's see, right there, Black Book. That's the Smithsonian book for comic book comics. If you are a comic fan, I highly recommend you pick that up. Pretty much it has intact reprints of Action Comics #1, first appearance of Superman, Detective Comics #27, first appearance of Batman, as well as, you know, the origin issue of Captain Marvel, DC's Captain Marvel, Shazam, if you will, originally published by Fawcett. There's also Plastic Man, The Spirit, even stuff like Little Lulu. I mean, it's great. Let's see, just a random price guide, a couple art books. Right there you have my Micro Machines Luke's X-Wing from Dagobah. It has a Dagobah detail painted on it, like moss and stuff. It's pretty neat. I'd have it out, but I don't have the room. I don't think it says it on the box, but that was the Toy Fair magazine exclusive from a few years back. Stephen King book. There's my last mug. It's Snake Eyes. And speaking of Snake Eyes, there are 3 Joes right there. 2 versions of Snake Eyes and Low Light. I literally have about 200 Joes. I'm just waiting for a display case to put them in. Those are the only 3 I have out right now, though. Alright, next shelf down. It's my absolute and oversized hardcover shelf. And you have Absolute Kingdom Come, Dark Knight Returns, Long Halloween, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Avengers Justice League, the first 4 volumes of Sandman, The Art of Star Trek, Van Helsing's Diary, you know, first 50 years of Marvel, both the Marvel and DC vaults that came out a couple years back, the Chronicles, Star Wars vehicle schematics, you know, and that on its side up there is Golden Age Captain America slipcase for the first 10 issues. I have the Masterworks on my other shelf, as you saw, which are complete reprints, but those are just the main stories. I might end up selling that one. We'll see. Next shelf down is my Shannara shelf. I have all the hardcovers for the Shannara series by Terry Brooks. Good stuff. Basically, if you were a fan of the Lord of the Rings and you tried to read the books, but for whatever reason you lost interest, maybe it was because of the you know, in-depth detail Tolkien went into for like the elfin lore and all the language references and everything else. These are kind of simplistic versions of them, of that type of thing, with a little bit of a twist. Whereas the Lord of the Rings stuff pretty much goes back in time for like a medieval, Middle Earth, ancient, mythical, what have you. I'm not exactly sure how to put it. These are set in a post-apocalyptic future. They never actually came right out and said it, except for maybe in one of the most recent books. I still haven't gotten to them yet, but apparently there's a nuclear holocaust, and all evidence of our civilization, except for a few like remnants of like cities and what have you, have been erased. All of our histories are gone, but the radiation has mutated certain people depending on where the bombs landed. So you have gnomes, trolls, elves, dwarfs, as well as, you know, with the loss of technology, people have rediscovered magic. So you have swords and druids and all sorts of great stuff. It's awesome. It really is awesome. The first book is The Sword of Shannara. It's a little bit rough because that's also the first book that Terry Brooks ever wrote. Not really too rough. I mean, like one or two spots could be a little bit smoother of a read, but other than that, it's still a great book, and he gets progressively better as the series goes on. I mean, by the time you reach the Voyage of the Gerald Shannara trilogy, you're just completely sucked in. You cannot put this series down. Let's see, right there we also have The Book of Fate by Brad Meltzer. Some of you comic fans may know that name. I also have The Book of Lies. I'm reading it right now, actually. That's what that empty spot is. And a couple classic books, like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Treasure Island, Journey to the Center of the Earth. And right there we have two Japanese model kits for Mega Man and Zero, or Rockman, what have you. Right there on his side, a book on Einstein on top of the Zombie Survival Guide. You gotta love my my diversity. And of course, right here, taking up half the shot, is Thor's hammer. You guys saw a review of him already. The next shelf down is just a collection of hardcovers, the complete works of Aristotle, you know, Anne Rice, The Vampire Lestat, Michael Crichton's Lost World, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Homer's Odyssey, stuff like that. Die-cast metal version of the General Lee, another Shelby 500. And that's about it. I mean, oh yeah, magazines on the bottom shelf for this one too. So there you go. That's about it. Look forward to another collection video in the future. I'm not sure what I'll call it, but it will be up with part 3. If you like this video, check out my channel. If you like what you see there, then please subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.